All right. Let's try this out. We're going to go live on YouTube like we do every Tuesday morning. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to double stream. We'll stream here on TikTok, but I will be facing my YouTube audience here. The YouTube recording will be here. And everything else will be either here on TikTok or it'll be on Spotify, the podcast version, if you don't have time to watch. So, hello to everybody that's joining. I'm going to be streaming live on YouTube. Let me put that, I should probably put that here somewhere in the section. Let's see, how do I write that? This is my first live, so first real live on TikTok. So let's try if I can figure out how to put, because I am live on YouTube and I want to put a comment there. How about, let's see, comment, sound effects, stickers, nope. How about a live? The edit button's always somewhere missing. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll just go with it. Because I am live on YouTube. It's okay, buddy. Oh no, the camera looks a little fuzzy today. It was fine just a second ago. Let's see. It is fuzzy. What happened? Apologize for the delay. But that fuzziness was not there a second ago. Good morning, everybody. I do not know what the technical difficulty is on the fuzziness of my camera. It has something to do with the lighting, I believe. But unfortunately, technical issues, always interesting on a live election day. Anytime you go live, there's always some kind of issue with technical issues. This camera looks good. This camera, not so good. And I just had everything perfect right before going live, which sounds about right, right? You get the lighting right, you get everything, you feel like you get everything right. So I'm going to shut this down for maybe 1 second just to try to figure out, because this lighting is jacked to the point of you can't even see me. But you can hear me, and I guess that's the main important thing. So let's just get going. Good morning. My name is George Sisca. Today is Election Day, December 2nd, 2025. Welcome to Divided America. It's a special day. I was not expecting to be this animated this morning, but it is Election Day. And in a very deep red district, the 7th District in Tennessee, the Republicans almost always win here. Donald Trump won here by 20 points in 2024. But a new poll puts Republican Matt Van Epps at 48% and the Democrat Aftyn Behn at 46%. It's 2%. 2 points. The rest of the split is among third-party candidates and undecideds. But this is usually a safe district, and now it's not safe, and the entire country is noticing, except for Fox News. If you go to Fox News, you won't even see this on there, which might be a good thing for Miss Behn, because if they don't know that there's an actual election, then they're not going to vote. But we'll see. Van Epps is backed by the Republican establishment. The former Representative Mark Green was the conservative group's national donors. It's typical Republican talking points about how he's strong on defense and fiscal conservatism, and typically what you hear from them. Aftyn Behn, on the other hand, is a community organizer. She turned state legislator with a message focused on healthcare, cost of living, and local economic recovery. Imagine that, like things that we want, where people need, not tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires. She's visited every town in the district, and sometimes more than that once. And in special elections, charisma can punch far above its weight. I can speak personally on special elections. I walked for Representative Gabe Amo here in Rhode Island, in the Cumberland and Lincoln area. I just felt like it was the right do at the right time. Special elections are very small in numbers, and every single vote counts. And that's what we're looking at here. Typical political thinking is higher turnout, better for Democrats. This time, I don't know. If you've looked since President Trump has joined these races, a higher turnout, sometimes it leans towards Republicans. So that I'm not going to go with the standard talking point of high turnout, better Democrats. That being said, everybody should vote, right? Like if you're a voter in the Tennessee 7th District and you are registered to vote, try to make some time and vote. Even vote Democrat, vote Republican. I'd rather you vote for Miss Behn, but that's just my personal opinion, right? I think I've said this before, that some people might shut this off now. It's like, oh, journalist with an opinion. He's got an agenda. I don't got an agenda. I just got an opinion. I think there's a major difference between an agenda and opinion. Agenda means that you're getting paid by corporate entities and they're being told what to say. I got no one paying me at all. Okay, that was horrible English. I absolutely not. I have no salary right now. I'm doing this on my own. I'm doing this on my own free will. I just feel that we need more independent voices out there. This fuzziness is killing me. Sorry to the YouTube. The Spotify will sound much better. And if you guys haven't listened to the Spotify podcast yet, I highly suggest it, because there's added production value in that. So let's look at the voter breakdown, right? Let's look at the demographics. Voters under 40 typically lean heavily Democratic. These are all stereotypes, but stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. Voters over 55, they typically favor Republican. Women, they've been leaning towards Behn. I just saw an amazing TikTok of because I was writing this, and the algorithm is strong. I immediately got I logged into TikTok this morning, and I got a Behn sheet. Miss Bain's personal account came right up onto my feed. Saw her hug one of her constituents, pulled over when she saw her campaigning, and the constituent pulled over, hugged the candidate. And it's just one of those moments that you get when you're campaigning. It feels, it's a good feeling. I don't know if anybody out there has ever been on the trail. It's a good feeling. It's very energetic. It says that men are leaning towards Van Epps, which, again, I understand that the typical male does, like a typical male thinks like a male, but these days I think that elections are different. I think that the past elections in Louisiana just recently showed us that things can be changed. And today, if it's even a close race, it shows that every seat matters. It shows that every vote matters. And this is why this feels different this morning, right? This is a real race. This is a race in somewhere. But usually when you hear political hacks, I like calling them hacks. Most of them are hacks. They start talking and they're like, oh, well, a Democrat can't win that race. Bullshit. Okay? Bullshit. A Democrat a human being. Let's go back. Let's go back to using our terminology on this show, right? We use human beings as terminologies, not illegal aliens, Republicans, Democrats. Human being. If any human being uses human reasoning, they can win a district. They can win a city. Zolan Mandani, right? He used not so popular ideas, but some ideas that seem to be really resonating with the New York area, and a relatively newcomer won the biggest city in America as a democratic socialist, right? So let's keep it straight, okay? This is a real race for the Tennessee 7th. 2 points. We need people out there voting. Now, what are voters saying, right? What are we hearing from people in Tennessee, in the small towns like Louisville, and the voters saying that the economic frustration is driving their decision, right? Grocery prices, gas prices, the cost of rent, these are all on the front of our minds. Right? Every time I go, I'm getting ready to cook for Christmas Eve now, right? We got Christmas Eve coming up. I'm looking for beef. I personally like to cook the Feast of the Seven Fishes for my family. That's the Italian side of me. But I also like making I'm privileged. Let's just get this out of the way too. I'm very privileged to be able to feed my family like this. But I try to buy a standing rib roast every Christmas time, and usually I don't buy. Well, I never buy it on full price. I wait for that $6.99 per pound. I haven't seen it yet. Hopefully it comes. We will see. But this is what is on the mind of everybody out there. In the suburbs, outside Nashville, outside Clarksville, the concerns are the same, but they shift a little bit to healthcare and public education and infrastructure. Then there's Fort Campbell, right? There's the military communities and who typically vote Republican. As a former military member, I was heavily Republican for a very, very long time until I started researching and reading and learning and going to school and understanding how much the government has actually helped people like me after they screwed up after Vietnam. Because the government screwed up in Vietnam, okay? They screwed up. The government screwed up after Vietnam. They screwed up during Vietnam, and then especially towards the vets after. If you haven't seen Rambo: First Blood, it's a great movie. It's old, but it's still poignant. It really is. So where's this going, right? The government has services that we pay for with our taxes. I used the GI Bill. If I didn't pay my taxes, if everybody didn't pay their taxes, I wouldn't have been able to use the GI Bill to go back to school, so on and so forth, and everybody else. But I apologize. I just started going off on a little rant there, and it's because it's frustrating because we pay taxes for these services, but then now we're losing governmental services daily because of the Doge effect that happened before. You guys remember that? Remember that Doge crap that Elon did? That's why I'm sitting here. I got the buyout. But I digress. Like, it's not about me. This is about the voters, and this is about how I feel we feel ignored, right? Do you feel ignored as a voter? If you feel ignored, just please let me know. I bet you do, because I know I do. People don't feel heard in Washington. They're just voting their ways. Now, like I said earlier, this isn't just a Tennessee story anymore. This is everybody. If Van Epps wins by single digits, you're gonna hear it everywhere. Democrats can declare moral victory, blah blah blah. Like I'm cool. I'm cool for moral victories. I get it. I get that it's a 20 point. It would be like an insane swing, like in political circles, and people love the BS about that crap, right? But if she wins, it's an earthquake. I don't see how the GOP recovers realistically. Like I don't personally. I don't editorially. I don't see how do they win elections with the policies that they are forcing on Americans. Like they're not they say they're for states' rights, but they're taking states' rights away with the bans on hemp and gambling issues. And if you look at anything into the big beautiful bill, which I hate saying, but no one knows what HR1 means. there's some really nasty stuff in that bill, and the only way to get rid of bills like that is to vote in people that will vote against bills like that, and that will that will vote for bills that destroy HR1. Now, hopefully, this works. This is about. This is not just about the House majority. This is about momentum. This is about narrative, enthusiasm, energy. Now, what makes this race fit perfectly for this show? If you haven't been watching this show, every Tuesday I talk about how we're really closer, like we're more alike than each other, right? I sit down every month on a Saturday with people that I don't agree with politically, but man, do we have fun. We play poker. I lose money. I win money. I mostly lose money. But I have friends there that really are hardcore MAGA, and I don't agree with them at all. But it doesn't mean we can't have fun, right? Like, that's what it comes down to. Now, I really disagree with some of the stuff that our leaders are doing with Venezuela, but they can't. These people at the poker table, they can't do anything. It would be nice if they could, but they can't. They can't change. They can't make the DUI hire, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. They can't make him stop double tapping illegally in international waters, right? Like, I can't. I'd love to stop him, but I can't. As a former invader of Iraq, we were told, don't double. There's no such thing as double tapping. You're not allowed to do that. Okay, and for the uninitiated, double tapping is when someone surrenders in a war situation. Or you've made them not being able to move. This is an I word I can't think of right now. Incapacitate. I don't know what that co-host thing is. I'm sorry, Muhammad. I would love to co-host with you. I'm learning this live stuff on TikTok. I've been doing this on YouTube for a while, so I apologize. But that little live thing kind of threw me off. So back to what I was going with how this fits for our show. Neighbor versus neighbor, generation versus generation, traditional conservatism versus new political identities, rural attitudes versus suburban attitudes. No, we're all people, right? We're humans. I don't know how many times I will have to say this during this show. I'm gonna say it pretty much every week. On every Tuesday, hopefully you spend with me, and I've said it before, but I feel like I have a little bit more of an audience right now. So I will say, Tuesdays suck, right? It's the worst day of the week. I used to tell my boss at the FAA this all the time. It's got no feel. Monday's got a feel. Friday's got a feel. Even Wednesday and Thursday somewhat have a feel, especially with football. Thursday really's got a feel. Tuesday's got no feel. So spend your Tuesdays, at least in the mornings, with me, right? So if this race, man, I think the only reason why this race is even somewhat close is because we are closer than we think we are. And politics aside, humans are humans. What is going on in Washington, what is going on in our streets with ICE taking away kids, families, with seemingly no rules, I think this is why people are just fed up with it and they're done. And how do you stop ICE, right? Like, I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm scared of ICE. I'm a combat vet, and I'm literally scared of getting stopped by ICE. I thought I would have First Amendment right. Well, we'll see how this First Amendment thing goes with this little project. Fourth Amendment rights and Fifth Amendment rights they're baked in the Constitution, but we've lost them. If you see the videos that I see of citizens, just because they don't speak English that well, they're still citizens. And they're saying they're American citizens. and they're still and they don't have to answer questions, right? Do we have the Fifth Amendment? Do we still have that? And then the fourth, that's the one where that this administration really knows. Like, I've heard them say it multiple times on Capitol Hill when they were being asked by the Senate and House hearings. You heard it a lot. Like, I plead the Fifth. I don't want to talk. Which part of our rights, right? Our forefathers fought for that. But do we still have that when we're driving a vehicle and ICE pulls you over? Right? Do we still have that right? Are we allowed to say, no, Fifth Amendment right? Or they should, so because you say Fifth Amendment right, that now gives them the precursor to break your window, pull you out of your car, terrorize children. For what? Because they speak a different language? In a way, if I ever did get pulled over by ICE, I was joking with some friends, I would start speaking Russian. No, что, no. Я не говорю по-английски. Я говорю по-русски. Ну что это? What I'm saying is, I speak Russian. What is this? Я американский. I'm an American. They wouldn't know I'm saying that. Now, my shade of skin might get me away with a little bit of it, right? But if you're speaking in a more Latin language, yo soy gringo. Pero, so excuse me. I've done this before on the show. Right? I don't speak good. I don't speak. Yo no hablo español. Pero entiendo un poquito. You think the ICE officers understand a little bit too, right? You think they would understand just the smidge of Spanish that's being thrown at them. This all ties into the 7th District of Tennessee. If you live anywhere in there or around there, or if you know anyone around there, let them know to go vote. If they're registered, go vote. Today's a big, big day. We have a little bit more to come, so please stick around. I'm going to take a super quick break, and I'm gonna come right back and talk about why one seat can change a whole bunch. So just stick around. I'll be right back. Now, I stopped my YouTube feed. I have no idea what's going on with the camera. I apologize. I actually have some followers today, so this is pretty cool. So thank you. I appreciate it. What I'm going to try to do is double stream next time I do this on Tuesday, or if I start doing this more often. I'm going to try to fix the audio, because what you're probably getting is the TikTok audience is the audio through my phone and not getting the improved audio through this nice little microphone that I purchased through my LLC. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for us. It's a quick little, it's a great saying from one of my favorite movies, My Cousin Vinny, who I used to be called. People used to say I look like Vinny Del Pino a little bit from the show. But I wear, when Joe Pesci goes in front of the judge, he goes, I know you didn't like the jacket, right? So I wore, the whole store had the flu. So I had to go get this ridiculous thing for you. Now, I say that because, as you can see, the movie posters, I consume way too much media between news, movies, TV. So I'm glad everybody's joined. This is amazing. I've never expected to have so many people join. I should have been doing the TikTok live the same exact time I've been doing the YouTube live, which I do every Tuesday around this time. Oh, for the the new one. You might actually check this out. You guys can see Chewy. He's being a good boy, right? You being a good boy, Chewy? All right, we're going to try to finish the show while Chewy is good, because then what we typically do is after I get my production stuff done during the morning here, I take Chewy for our walks, and then I talk to you guys on our walks. So he's getting up, so I'm gonna get into it. Okay, I'm gonna get right back into the YouTube show, and the lighting is still screwed up. See, that's warm, that's cold. Well, one of these days I might get an actual intern or an assistant to help me with the lighting. So I apologize again for the YouTube feed. TikTok's pretty darn clean. And the TikTok feed got some behind the scenes stuff, because when I went on break here on YouTube, I gave TikTok a little bit of some personal stuff about me, because I feel like the show you don't need to hear everything about me on this show. I pontificate enough. I go off the rails at times, but the real me is just kind of all over. If you haven't noticed, right? It's part of the ADHD. It's a superpower, and it can be kryptonite too. But it really is. It's Anyway, back to the show. Thank you for joining us again. Welcome back, Divided America, Sisca News Network. Before the break, we walked away and we talked about the special election in the 7th District. Now, it's usually, like I said before, it's usually uncompetitive, and now it is. But why is this important, right? Speaker Mike Johnson, he's trying to govern right now with the slimmest majority in modern history. Right? Some days he has a 3-vote cushion. Some days he has a 2-vote cushion. Some days, depending on absences, travel, or even medical leave, there's literally 1 vote. Right? Like if someone's stuck out of DC, they're not allowed to vote by proxy. They got rid of that, which we'll get into at another day. We'll talk about voting by proxy, which should be allowed, but because we're allowed to vote by proxy for American Idol, right? I mean, if that's right. I digress. So that means that one member out, right? Just one member can shift the complete math of the House or the Senate, for example. Now, this means that I was saying earlier about the big beautiful bill I talked about in the first segment. This ridiculous flag piece of legislation that was passed by the Trump administration, right? You know, it was passed with 3 Democratic seats that were vacant due to death. Not like gunshots, old age. That's what we're dealing with right now. Like we saw it with the presidency before. I'm talking directly right now to Democrats. Like, what the hell is going on with the gerontology? Like, what is it? I get that we're supposed to respect our elders. I do, but not, pardon the phrase, bend over. Right? Like, please pardon the phrase. It's I don't understand what the Democratic Party is doing when it comes to leadership. I see Chuck Schumer not being a good spokesperson. I see in my state, Jack Reed is as good as he's been for Rhode Islanders. He's been kind of absent lately. Three people were dead, and because of that, the tax laws that were passed in 2016 or 17 are now permanent. What do we do? The average age of a House member is around 57, 58. The average age of a senator is in the mid-60s. Leadership's even worse, right? Like I was just saying, Schumer. I love Jeff. I like calling him Speaker Jeffries because he should be Speaker Jeffries. He seems amazing. But his underlings, the people around him, we need people that are talking truth to power, right? I think that's some of the biggest issues that we have. That people are afraid. People are afraid to lose their jobs. People are afraid to to just tell the truth. People just want to move on with their day. Like I speak to someone very close to me in my life, and they don't have time for this, right? They only have time for their work and their family and politics and news. That just gets thrown to the side. We don't have time for that. We have an election coming up today, and then, of course, the midterms next year. Old members leave office more often and sometimes suddenly, right? So this goes into that theory. If we have older people in there, then there's a better chance that they die in office, and then we have to have another election. Or we can have younger people, say, 40s, 50s, people with some energy, 30s even, hell, 20s, people that want to be there. And when I say people, I mean all people. I heard a story about something here in locally, how one party wanted to run a trans member, and they didn't, and I think it would have been a really good thing. But there is a very established Democratic Party here in Rhode Island, and it affects everything. It affects. I've mentioned the gambling portion of it in an earlier show. Like Rhode Island is monopolized by Bally's. It doesn't allow apps like DraftKings to pull our money for revenue for Rhode Island. Rhode Island also screwed up with the .5 pot law. They have people like me who travel all the way to Massachusetts to get their pot. Why? Because their rules are more lenient. This is what I mean by state rights and how Republicans are taking that away. What I mentioned in the first half of this show. Are Republicans for state rights, or are they not? Because the hemp ban in the big beautiful bill will take away all of our edibles. I know people are just kind of understanding that, but I don't think they really understand. 0.04, the legal allowed limit in the big beautiful bill, is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's the 1 gram. I'd say the 1 gram pens that they have, the 1 gram cartridges that they have in Massachusetts are illegal in Rhode Island, right? To buy, you can't buy these. So you have to go across the way. Why? Because Rhode Island's so progressive? Because they bring too much money in so they don't have to bring that revenue in? Or is it because the leaders would make less money because they're getting their money from Bally's? I think that seems more prevalent. Because why not? Why wouldn't we bring in competition? DraftKings, FanDuel, all the other books, Fanatics, Hard Rock. Can't bring any of them in. Why? Because of the monopoly held by Bally's. This all goes into elections and what we've been talking about this whole time, and why today, December 2nd, is a humongous election in Tennessee. We need people out in the streets. We need people helping Miss Behn win this election, either by calling a relative, a friend in Tennessee, Facebooking them if you haven't talked to them forever. Say, hey, I know it's been a long time, but this is something to talk about, right? It gives you an in. Hey, it gives you that small talk, which I'm not good at. I'm not good at small talk. I'm long talk, if you can't tell. I'm very much long talk. So now let's just talk real quick before we leave about scenarios. If the Republicans win by a large margin, right? The GOP is going to keep their thin majority intact, and Speaker Johnson's going to get a sliver of breathing room. Not much, right? It's still not looking good for him when it comes to getting bills passed. if they win by a small margin, then the warning lights, they're going to start blinking, right? Like they're going to start looking at, well, I feel like they might start looking at things a little bit more closely. But my God, if Representative Behn wins, do you understand? Do you understand the impact that would, the news impact? I think it would be such an impact that there'll probably be some sort of false flag event on this, in our borders, but sooner than later. I think that's coming anyway, but that's my conspiracy side. That's the reckless speculation side of this. And when I say reckless speculation, that is an homage to the Dan Le Batard show with Stugatz. It's an amazing, amazing show that has been going on for 20 years. This is their 20-year anniversary. They broke off of ESPN, created Meadowlark Media, something like I'm doing. I wanted to be a sports journalist. I would love to work for Meadowlark, but I won't go to Miami. Sorry, Dan, if you ever saw this. But I think I think that we need more people out there speaking truth to power, because that would give Mike Johnson just, God, it'd be a governing crisis. How would he? I don't think he can get one more bill through before midterms. So they've been on vacation since the House was on vacation all summer. They got no bills passed. They're back now. They're being grilled about Epstein files. They're being grilled about ICE. They're being grilled about pretty much everything, about grocery prices, about tariffs, about what positive thing can we say that is going on in this country right now? Dead serious. I'd love, like, normally we can say, like, oh, we're building things to go to the moon, we're building things to do this, we're doing that. We're deporting people at a massive rate. We're making enemies at a more massive rate. Go watch Generation Kill. It's on HBO. It's a mini series on the war that I went to, and just see how easy it is to just make enemies. I'm gonna close with this, and I thank you again, everybody who joined today. I don't know what's going on with the lighting. I'm gonna really work on the lighting this week. I apologize to the YouTube audience. The TikTok has a pretty smooth show. I have two things I'm going to close with. Number one, all week I have been working my butt off on a cartoon, a kid's cartoon. I can't believe it. I mentioned it in an earlier TikTok. I'll say here, Jessica Smetana on the Dan Le Batard show years ago mentioned a Coach Madonna. With Italian Americans, we say the Madonna Mia, right? It's just kind of a thing. Well, she jokingly said that, and it stuck in my head. I put a note in my phone, because that's what I do. If something that catches my eye or attention, interestingly, I have to write it down. If anybody knows me, they see me do that often. I'm like, I'll stop them. Like, hold on, I got to write this down. It's just a way of me remembering something cool. And Jessica mentioned that Coach Madone, and it never went anywhere. It's something that often happens on their show. It's just the train to nowhere, they call it sometimes, because they just come up with these great ideas that just never go anywhere. Well, I am almost done with a 12 episode Coach and Chewy season with. The hardest part is going to be the music and the voicing and all that, but the structure is all done. Like, I've done a lot of work on that. So I asked for your blessing before. I never really got an okay. So I'm running with this, and I'm gonna share some of the art on this week. I'll share some of the dialogue here this week. I've really been. I worked nonstop. I worked all day Sunday watching football and writing. It was just fun. It's fun when you're sitting there laughing at what the show is about. It's about Coach and Chewy. And Coach Madone is a baseball coach, a rec league coach, and he coaches 10 to 12-year-old kids and gets into funny situations. So that is going on behind the scenes here at the Sisca News Network. And again, I said I was going to close on two things. That was one. Number two is why is the last but not least, why does this election matter? It's because Congress isn't operating with 435 members. Big bills like the One Beautiful Bill passed with one vote. That's not how this world should work. That's not how this country should work. We are going to have live updates throughout the day. I'm going to be combing, like I do, every news source I can. Please stay with us throughout the day. I'm going to take Chewy's still being pretty good, so I'm going to take him out in a little bit after some breakfast. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I hope everybody has a great holiday season coming up. Try not to get too nervous. It's one thing everybody does. Everybody gets so nervous about the holidays. Try it. It's hard. It's hard to say, yeah, don't be calm, right? It never works, but try, okay? Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Thank you so much.